Okay, so that is the fun one. This is the serious one.
I gotta go for the fun questions. Question. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
What have you done in Oxford that you have never done before?
Built a snowman. Coming from a tropical country, you cannot really expect snow. But yeah, when it was this first snowfall, I was like running around like a kid and built a snow bear to represent my college, Teddy Hall. So yeah.
Actually, it was my first time seeing snow too. We were in lectures and it starts going. I literally ran outside in the middle of lectures.
I'd never ducked out to have a study break lunch with a former Prime Minister, which seems to happen at Oxford. That was definitely a first time.
Yeah, I'd never met any royalty until I came to Oxford and was really fortunate to meet Queen Noor of Jordan and Princess Basma, which was really exciting. So bumping shoulders with the Jordanian royals was something I'd never done before.
See, can you see the gradient of things that are happening?
I did snow, I did with royalty.
Okay, how did you go about starting your personal statement/statement of purpose? I found it really, really difficult to start mine. I think I was really scared that if I started it, my idea would fall apart and there wouldn't be the evidence or there wouldn't be the information already out there. That's the hardest bit.
And also the important thing is to at least first write down everything and anything in the first round, because mine was big dump. I was just dumping everything, whatever I have done, anything close to computer science, that was on my personal statement. And then there were hours of editing and people reviewing it over and over again. But yeah, that's a journey in itself, like Oxford.
And I think following that dump, I certainly did that. But then I think it's really important to actually, I spent a lot of time talking out loud. So my written process was actually very vocal, saying, why do I actually want to be here? In all of the mess of everything I've done, haven't done, studied, thought about, why Oxford? And not Oxford just because the town, the university, but what is it about being in Oxford that's going to get me where I want to do? So I did a lot of talking by myself in my room,
And I think a big part of the personal statement, especially for a place like Oxford, is sort of crafting that narrative of academic self that fits alongside your professional experiences, because the most important reason why we're here is the academic work that we do, but that also translates into work experiences, internships, volunteering, so kind of crafting everything around to tell that greater picture of who you are as an academic. I found that was a really helpful way to craft the personal statement.
And reading it back to family and friends with honesty, does this sound like me? Because they're the first people to say, who is that person on the page? you want the people around you to recognise, that's what you've been speaking out for the last few years, and that really sounds like you. And it took a few times to get there, but I think it can be scary telling family and friends that you're actually applying for Oxford, because it makes it real and it makes it something you can miss. But just being brave to actually share it and get the feedback around you, I think is important.
For me, when I was writing my personal statement, I went onto my course website. I looked at a lot of what they emphasized and what kind of students they were looking for, and I kind of wrote my experiences based on that. So they really emphasized lab skills. So I was like, I did these courses, these are techniques I've learned, and this is how I could further that at Oxford.
And also, do not fake it. Be as you as possible and bring out the best out of you, because then at the end of the day you won't be able to justify to yourself that why I am going to Oxford or why I want to go to Oxford. So that unit should be true to yourself.
And when I felt like I needed to check in with someone who had an academic lens, I emailed my professors from undergrad and had them look over my personal statement just to make sure that they felt. I especially asked the ones who'd went to Oxbridge to look over my statement to see if they could find any places to strengthen it or find any cracks that they would want repaired before it got sent in. So that was helpful for me.
I think it's really helpful, definitely if you have, but I think it's also it's okay just to kind of go at it without knowing anyone that's ever been to Oxbridge, because I think that can be terrifying, that whether it's the personal statement or the written sample, kind of assessing, is it Oxford enough? And that's going to be impossible to meet every time. So I think kind of, if you know it's you and don't put in the essay that you think speaks most to Oxford or the professors. What was the one that actually you cared about and meant the most to you and is like you? So in the absence of having an Oxford standard, I think the only one you can go by is your course website, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
How does living in Oxford compare to living in your hometown? I'm from Florida, so I'm used to seeing the sun all the time. I'm used to driving everywhere as well, so I don't drive here. But I really like it here. It's obviously beautiful.
No, I think Oxford gets a hard time for being the bubble, but I actually really like the bubble. I can walk or ride everywhere. You've got everything to pick from. Spoilt for choice on facilities, on people, and I live in like a mile radius from my closest friends, so it's pretty special.
Yeah.
It also obviously looks like Hogwarts.
Yes.
So, coming from like a large public university in Southern California, which is where I grew up, near the beach, that was all I knew for life and for uni. So to have what has been a completely different experience in grad school has been really exciting. It adds a little panache, it adds a little embellishment and history and myth to the degree, which can be really fun when you're walking, I don't know, where C.S. Lewis met with Tolkien to work on their Inklings group or whatever. It just adds another layer of meaning and history and excitement to the degree.
I definitely feel smarter in the libraries here when the books are oh my gosh, yes. And my last name's Dobby, so it's actually like coming back to Hogwarts, so it's pretty special. And you kind of soak it up and you sit in these desks in the library and you go, who sat here like last decade, last century? And I just think that you have to soak some of that up.
Yeah, I definitely sat there thinking, I should work hard because I feel like the surroundings demand it.
It also brings like it brings the myth down because you know your peers, you know who you're working with, and you realize that yes, people here are very intelligent and capable and talented, but also they're just like everyone else. And so you think if people have been able to achieve such great things coming out of here, a simple person like me might be able to as well.
Hashtag imposter syndrome.
Yeah, the imposter syndrome never wears off. Well, it hasn't worn off for me. I don't know about you guys. But.
Same here. What has being part of your college mean to you?
I think what's really nice about the college system just generally is that it provides you with like a little mini community where you feel like you know most people or everyone. So that's really nice. It feels more homely than being in a big university institution.
Being an international student and then having never moved away from home before, my college has been so caring, so welcoming. I was a little bit intimidated when I first came here. I was like, I don't know where anything is. I don't know if I'm gonna make friends. But from the very beginning with Freshers Week, they put on so many events. Like we went ice skating, we went punting, we had brunch, everything. But then they also had more practical things like going on tours, so they could just tell me where do I buy my groceries, and then helping with my computer, helping with everything. So I really love my college.
Yeah, like you were mentioning about the first day. So when I came here after 14 hours of travel, and I was like, okay, I was super exhausted, and they had some event in the college, and it was like, I'm not tired anymore because it was so welcoming, and it wasn't like I had some notion in the back of my head, okay, there might be some level of discrimination, or I don't know, I had some very random negative thoughts going around, but they were shattered within seconds. And that is the best part of it. And now when I look back to my journey through my college, I'm like, I'm from a computer science background, and my best friend out here is studying German, and I'm like, I couldn't imagine such friendship growing up if I would not been exposed to a college-like setup. So yeah, it's amazing. That basically adds more value and beauty to the system, because now you have possibility of collaboration, interdisciplinary collaboration happening, so yeah, which is fantastic.
And the unique opposite of that is a college like mine. I go to St. Antony's College. So a lot of folks study area studies. We host the Middle East Center, the Russian Center, the Latin American Center, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of scholars who do politics or international relations. And the dinner table discussion in hall is always so interesting. And we have the largest population of international students. So you'll sit at a table with someone from Denmark, Pakistan, Palestine, Japan, everyone representing their own their own background, their own country, their own stories, their own academic pursuits, and the dinner is usually controversial, but always very fun, and we learn a lot. We get to practice what we're learning.
Yeah, I think the college thing's been really interesting for me. I think it's so fundamentally different as a graduate student, where the undergrads, they don't just live and eat there, they learn through their college, where I think as a graduate student sometimes I find myself torn between the different circles, that you kind of have your college circle and you have your department circle, and then you might have other ones, your sporting circle. That the wonderful thing, as you said, it's kind of ready-made, it's always there. You kind of dip in and out of your circles as you want. I mean, it hasn't been my main one, but it's always there for that support, for those conversations, for the food, for the something. So the food.
Okay. Let's do
it.
What is your favorite study spot?
Okay.
Oh, mine's really easy. I really love the Duke Humphreys Library.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh, go there. It's brilliant.
Third row on the left, the window seat.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally had a seat. Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's got a gorgeous wooden carved ceiling. It's got oak walls. There's ancient books all over the place.
Harry Potter was filmed in
It's
there.
so Harry Potter. Yeah, it's really, really nice. And it's really quiet.
Until
It's
they
really
ring
good.
the bell and slam it.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day.
I didn't know that was a thing when I first got here, and I was still there just before the library was closing, and the bell rang. It scared the life out of me. No idea what it was.
Yeah.
Well, my room is my den because I love to scatter stuff around me and make it my cozy space and then study. So yeah, my room is my favorite place to study.
I like my college library the best. I live in college, so my library is literally downstairs. You see people wearing their pajamas, like everything, just walking down the stairs, books everywhere. It's just very comforting.
I mean, slightly opposite that is another one that I really love. Not quite pajamas. The Bonavero Institute of Human Rights. And for me, that's wonderful because you have reading spaces there where it's not just or even predominantly students. It's kind of visiting practitioners, fellows, lawyers, academics. And it's this kind of space that's welcoming because people are there with their careers, and you kind of walk into the reading room and they say, "Morning, what are you doing?" And you feel like you're kind of like a lowly student just chipping away while they're creating something. But it's kind of a nice space to be around.
I don't know about you guys, but I tend to do certain work in certain places. So like for my admin work, I'll go to a cafe or something and get a cappuccino and type away on my laptop. But when it's time to hit it hard, I'll go somewhere that is quite overwhelming, like environmentally, like the Radcam. Or the Taylorian. And as you walk in, you know that it's going to be an intense study session, and
I mean, libraries where you actually get like face-to-face ID is just insane. But you kind of it does add to the aura of it.
Okay, did you have a college preference when you applied, and how did you choose your preference?
So mine was an open application. I was like, I need to just focus on the department. I'm like, okay, let's leave it on the destiny. I'm happy with destiny landed me in the college where I am. But
Yeah, I definitely wish that I knew more about the college system when I was applying. When I was applying, I was like, oh no, if I pick one, I'm less likely to be accepted. So I just put open application as well, but I'm really happy with my college.
Oh, this is weird. I also did an open application. I started having a look through the colleges, and I just thought, I just want to go to Oxford. They all do the same job. They're all a little bit different.
And that's the thing, everyone in the end, like, they love their college. Their college is the best. Everyone claims to be the oldest or something, or the newest or something.
So I had picked a really picturesque, classic Oxford college to apply to, and I got the complete opposite of that. We have a very lovely brutalist structure as our hall. We're very concrete heavy, so it's a lot different from the Gothic and like the older spaces that we have here. But it was a match made in heaven when it comes to my college experience. So no matter where you get placed, I think I would give this advice to anybody. It is always what you make of it.
Yeah.
And essentially, like you said, colleges, they all do the same thing. They're all just a little different. But once you go through the year, you wouldn't have wanted your college experience any other way. So.
what advice would you give to students who are unsure Oxford is for them?
I heard something when I was applying for my undergrad, that somebody said that kind of really stuck with me. They said nobody applies to Oxford thinking they're going to get in. There's no dead certs. Everybody applies thinking, oh, this one's going to be more competitive. So just giving it a go, like give yourself a chance to apply, see what happens.
I think another thing is because even if you don't know if Oxford's for you, you're normally kind of trying to get into a particular type of course, and I don't think there's any harm in reaching out to people in that course, whether that's current professors and tutors or past students. I mean, good or bad, internet, you can find people, and I certainly reached out, just cold emails to people. I've definitely had people do it to me, just saying, hey, do you have 5 minutes to jump on the phone? I was amazed at how willing people have been to do that. Not everyone grows up kind of knowing someone that went to Oxbridge, so it's kind of a bit tough sometimes to say, go and chat to someone that's been there. But definitely don't be afraid of the cold email, and the worst you can do is get a non-response. And that's fine, it's not going to hurt you.
And I would also say to someone who maybe applies for a graduate program and doesn't get in, to try again, because things are always changing, or try a different course, or have a new experience and come back to it, because I don't think that Oxford is just for one type of person, or the second you don't get in, you give up on that dream if that is a dream of yours. I think that it really can be for everyone, and it's not necessarily as soon as a rejection is handed out that's the end of that dream. I know loads of people who had applied before and hadn't gotten in for their undergrad but came for their master's, or people who ended up doing a DPhil after a long time away from university. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for people who maybe don't think that they have a place here to either find that place or carve that place out for themselves.
Because just by virtue of the numbers, I mean, a rejection's not good. You're not good enough necessarily. It's we had so many numbers, and we're trying to craft a particular type of course, and we've only got 25 people, and we can't have all lawyers or all this. That often, unfortunately, you fall through the cracks, not from like merit or anything, just by numbers.
Yeah, I definitely had more than one go. I applied at undergrad, didn't get in, and then got in for my masters. So yeah, I definitely recommend applying more than once. Yeah.
Okay. How has Oxford changed you?
So I have two things which basically Oxford taught me, that everybody has a journey of their own and we must learn to acknowledge that. That is one major thing which Oxford has taught me. And another thing is patience. Be patient. Anything can happen, and destiny can change the course of your life into something very magical within moments. So yeah, patience and the journey is something which Oxford has instilled in me.
I was told before I came that Oxford was an unravelling experience, and I had no idea what that meant until I was literally unravelled, for better and worse. And I think what I wish I'd known is that whether you want to or not, Oxford makes you grow. And I think I'll leave feeling more myself than when I came, which is a very weird place to be in, that not even intentionally coming here on like a soul searching thing, just the people you meet, the course you study, the time you have in your own head. I think it all combines that you have a better sense of who you are, and if you just kind of sit in it for a while, I think that's a pretty remarkable place to kind of come through.
I think being offered a place here made me reassess what I thought of myself, where I thought I could go. So yeah, it definitely gave me more confidence.
Yeah, as you kind of said, it kind of pulls away the veil, like not in a bad way, but you realise that everything behind it is just people, people doing their thing, and they're no different, they're no better, and it's kind of, like if they can do it, you were their classmate, you can do it, and it's pretty special.
Normal people walking around.
Working hard.
Amazing. working hard. But there's really nice buildings everywhere, but actually everyone who's around are just people who live in the normal world.
I think it really pushed me to my limit in a way that I didn't know was possible. I calculated it yesterday. I think this year, when all is said and done, I'll have written 52,000 words, studied Hebrew, learned how to code, and amongst, an essay a week, like one-on-one classes with the expert in the field on the subject, and then had to navigate friends, dating, life, normal people things, and doing it all at once has been honestly really hard. But coming out the other end with the degree and with, like you said, the confidence and having been on this journey, having learned to be patient with yourself, with other people, has been really, that has been the experience of Oxford. It's more than the degree, because I've come out the other end, I feel like a totally grown person who is ready to take on something even more challenging than this, and this has been pretty challenging. So I feel up to the task.